Hello friends, it's the 28th of May. I'm in Betty Hill today, Betty Hill Beach. It's lovely. Really nice. There's a yacht out there. Be lovely to sail around in that, wouldn't it? Nice, eh? Nice when the weather's good, I suppose. Probably have second thoughts if it wasn't good though. So today I thought I would speak about fungal infections. Fungal infections are a sign that our bodies have tissue that it wants to get rid of, and it uses fungi to do that. It often also uses very simple tubercular bacteria as well, so TB bacteria. So TB bacteria and fungi often work together, or you might just get fungi involved. So the biological process which fungi are a part of, okay, is like all other diseases, or so-called diseases. They're not really diseases, but they're processes which involve the brain and the psyche within the brain as it responds to perceived biological trauma and conflicts coming from that. So what happens is Mrs. A suffers a trauma which her psyche latches onto, and if that trauma, for example, involves the brain stem, is processed through the brain stem, you're going to develop extra adeno tissue in the body somewhere, depending on exactly where in the brain stem the process is working through. But nevertheless, in principle, the body starts to develop extra adeno cells in the body in a biological attempt to help that lady overcome her deeply felt isolative emotional trauma that has left a little bit of an issue going, and the body's trying to help her overcome that in a biological way, because she was unable to do it sort of psychologically or reactively at the time of it happening. Now let's say that this process goes on for some weeks, and then it goes into resolution. Maybe it was an argument with a partner or something like that. And during that period of time, under the direction of the psyche and via the brain relay, which can be photographed doing this, the body starts to increase the number of adeno cells in the involved area in the body, in a biological attempt to improve its function, because from the archaic perspective of the psyche, improving the function of this body function, this tissue, would help resolve the unsolved emotional issue, right? So the body goes on. It's almost as if like the body's now linked, hardwired to the issue. It's tracking it, and if the issue increases in intensity, then the proliferation of adeno cells in the body increases proportionally, and likewise if it diminishes, right? So this continues until the psyche perceives that the conflict is resolved, right? The lingering conflict, which started at the shock, remember, has gone into resolution. Let's say there was an apology made or something like that, right? I don't want to be I'm going to be very general here, so because it applies to all adeno tissues, and they're distributed all over the body, throughout the body. So there's no point picking a specific one. But anyway, so when the psyche lets go of the issue, the physical brain relay in the brainstem goes into reversal of this process which had been increasing the number of adenocells in a certain body part, or a certain part of an organ within the body, right? Let's say it could be the small intestine, for example, right? When the psyche releases or lets go or perceives that the issue is resolved, it goes into reversal. It no longer wants the extra cells which has been growing, so it tries to remove them, and to do that the body uses fungi. So fungi are a sign that your body, like fungi in you, is a sign that your body, and likewise in me, right, in my body, so fungi is a sign that the activity of the fungi specifically is a sign that there has been a biological process running. It's involved the brainstem. It's been increasing the number of adenocells in the body, but now it's in healing, if you like. The emotional content has been healed, which triggers a physiological healing, right? So the body now wants rid of those extra cells. They're no longer wanted, and to do that, it uses fungi. So if you have a fungal infection, you know they get called infections, and you know we've all got to be squeaky clean and all that. It's actually a sign that the body has knowingly and deliberately used fungi to remove adenocells from itself. And it's a really good thing. It's a very, very good thing, because you don't want extra cells hanging around your body if you don't need them. But sometimes, okay, the life conflict doesn't get resolved permanently, right? Let's say, I don't know, let's say a partner works offshore and he goes away every, whatever it is, 2 weeks or 3 weeks these days, right? 2 weeks off and 2 weeks on, or 3 weeks off and 3 weeks on, right? And you may find in that situation, it could re-trigger, so that they might go into resolution when the partner comes home, and then the fungal infection starts, and that's the last thing you want really, but that's the way life is, right? Or, well, that would be a good example, but it could be the other way around. It could start, the fungal infection could go into healing when he goes away, right? If maybe the relationship's not that hot, you know? So, but that's an example, right? And there's millions of other examples. So, in that case, you go into healing on a monthly basis. You get this constant fungal issue going on somewhere in the body, right? And it doesn't seem to come to resolution, right? Now, it never will come to resolution until you can identify it, or until, let's say, the partner jacks in his job and comes home to stay, or if it was the other possibility where it was when he went away, then let's say he goes off and leaves, right, goes and lives in, I don't know, Russia or somewhere, right, and you never see him again. So then that would put you into permanent healing. But if something's ongoing, it's a sign that the conflict is ongoing. And if the fungi are active, it's a sign that the conflict is ongoing, but it's spending a lot of its time in healing. Now, that's really interesting, right? And another really interesting thing is that at the moment that we experience one of these biological shocks, right, the body or the psyche records any sensory information that it thinks is pertinent to that shock. It could be a smell, a sound, a noise, a colour, a taste, a pollen thing, a bit of pollen, or doesn't matter, right? It can be anything at all. It can even be people and places, right? And what happens is that every time we perceive any of those inputs, any of those sensory memories are re-triggered on a subconscious level, it re-triggers the unresolved trauma. And then that's when you have an allergy. That's an allergy. That's what an allergy is. But if the allergy affects the brainstem, well, then you get you can get an allergic reaction, which is a fungal allergic reaction, and it can go on and on and on. It can never stop. until you can identify and resolve the conflict. If you can't do that, the next best thing you can do is you can identify what the conflict is and do everything you can to mitigate the tracks and to remove yourself from that issue. That's called downgrading it. That way the symptoms can reduce massively. Okay, so really interesting. Okay, so for anybody out there who may have an ongoing infection, you know, I'll tell you a personal story. I actually have one. I've had a fungal infection between my little toe and my next toe on my left foot for about 48 years, right? And the only time it ever left was when I went to live and travel the world, and I went to South America and ended up staying there for 2 years. Had a great time, right? And certainly learned a lot about life out there. Anyway, when I was out there, I never put shoes and socks on. I bought a pair of sandals, and that was all I wore for 2 years. And in that 2 years, I never had one single foot infection the whole time I was there. When I came back, within a short period of time of being back here and putting shoes and socks on, I had a fungal infection, but only in the left foot. So it's not the shoes and the socks that's the problem, right? It's not the synthetic material of the sock that's the problem, because it's not a problem on my big toe or the next toe, just a little one, and it's just on the left foot. So that proves to us that it's entirely controlled by the brain as we responded to something. Now, with me, I don't know what it is. I mean, I can't remember, you know, that far back. I certainly can't remember anything as minor as some issue I might have had with my feet being in a dirty place. But that's what the conflict is, feeling that my feet is in a dirty place. What the body does is it increases the number of adenocells. It's actually adenoid cells in this case, which is called the corium skin of the body. The corium skin is the underlayer of the skin. You've got the epidermis and the dermis. So the dermis is the corium skin. And the corium skin is controlled from the cerebellum, which is just wrapped around the brainstem. Okay, and it also uses fungi as part of its healing process. So what's happened with me is that I've had an issue. Oh my God, I don't like putting my feet in shoes. Okay, and that must have my psyche latched onto that one day all those years ago, and it's still hanging on there. Yeah, and that's it, and it'll die with me. Right, I can't get rid of it, but at least I understand it. And if I did want to get rid of it, well, I'd just use sandals and not put socks on, right? And that would be just the way, right? But I don't. So that's interesting, right? It's understanding is so important. I won't waste loads of money on Caniston or whatever the creams they use, right, to get rid of it. I won't use any of that stuff. I know what it is. I mean, if I want to give my feet a rest, I'll take my shoes and socks off and I'll just go walking bare feet on the sand or in the grass and that, and it's good for them, right? And it also it gives my brain a bit of a rest from its issue of wearing shoes. So I hope that's important, and it shows a practical how you can use German new medicine knowledge practically to understand your health on an ongoing basis. And if you can also use this knowledge to do whatever you need to do to stop symptoms that if they're bothering you that much, you have to do that. Okay, so fungal infections, okay, uses bacteria and fungi. Sorry, fungal infections are part of a process which involves the or adenoid cells of the body. It's the reptilian brain, the old brain, and they are used exclusively in the healing phase of the conflict. So whenever the conflict's gone into resolution, the body wants rid of it, and it uses fungi to do that. So the body wants the fungi. Killing it is not really a good idea, because if you kill it and kill it and kill it and it can't come back, you just end up with the extra cells left in your body. which isn't, you know, it's not really beneficial in any way. If you want to know more about this, talk about health in general, okay, or you have some health issue that you want to know a lot more about, and you want to be empowered with a way of overcoming it and doing it yourself, or having someone like me help you do it, then get in touch. You know, it's easy to get in touch, right? My phone number's on the Facebook here, and you can just reply to you can send me a message. It's no bother. I'm offering sort of free introductory consultations, so nothing to risk. And yeah, nature knows best, right? Understanding it is the key. Medicine doesn't seem to know best, but there's definitely a huge opportunity for us all to learn this information and to understand our journey through life and time, and to go with it, as opposed to trying to confine it into what we're told are normal parameters, right? And you shouldn't have this and you should have that, and you should be vaccinated for this and you should da-di-da-di-da, right? It goes on and on. But actually, when you really learn the real deal, right, life's simple, and it's not so full of worry, because we can be worried about lots of things that are not true. That they come from a medical paradigm which is fundamentally unproven. The germ theory is entirely and completely unproven, and is unprovable. But that's a different thing altogether, right? I'm here to help you. Fungal infections today. I hope that's been interesting. Yeah, get in touch if you need help, and have a great day. And I'm just going to give you one more look round at this beautiful view before I say goodbye. Betty Hill Beach. It's a brilliant beach because it's so sheltered. It's really great. It's our favourite beach. Me and Laura and Rohan are always coming up here. Okay, see you around.